What's going on, guys? So today we are out here at our brand new Coachman Brookstone 398 MBL, and we are going to take on a task that I would probably say you have to be a little crafty to perform yourself, but once you've done it, it's definitely going to alleviate a ton of headaches later if your RV isn't already equipped with what we're about to do. So hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that on the other side of this wall, we installed a ton of equipment. We have solar equipment back there, we have a big inverter, we have, you know, our automatic transfer switch, a bunch of stuff. And I actually put a aluminum shield, which you can kind of see the top of right there, which protects all that equipment from any potential plumbing issues. So if a pipe back here bursts and I got water spraying, it should protect the equipment back there. But in the process of connecting all that, I did a boo-boo. See this little switch right here? This is the switch that the folks over at LCI installed so I could turn on my LCI Flow water drain down system. Basically, it's a winterization system that builds pressure up inside of your plumbing, and then you open a valve and it kind of blows all the water out. So if you get a hard freeze, which you know Texas is known for, especially South Texas, it prevents you from damaging your lines if you have water trapped in them. And you may live in a hot area, but you may travel to an area where you do need to winterize your unit, or you need to be cautious if you're camping and you get a hard freeze. So this just helps alleviate some of that stress in terms of, you know, getting all the water out of your lines and reducing the chance that you have a failure simply because the water froze and expanded inside of your lines. Well, the challenge I have is while I was installing that equipment there, I pulled the plug off of the back of this switch. What does that mean? It means the switch doesn't work anymore. 2 of the 3 wires are gone. One of the wires is meant to light up the actual switch, and the other wire is the actual wire that feeds power to the Flow drain down system. And the only way I can get to that is to remove all of these panels, which is a total nightmare because I probably have 20 screws holding all of this together. Let me get on the other side so you can see what I'm talking about. So here are 2 of the 3 panels that I've already removed. That's the extra piece of aluminum flashing that I have that I use to create part of that shield. But you can see in here how that shield, well, this would normally be like that. And it kind of provides a significant amount of protection. But to get to this and to get to that wire, I need to remove all of these panels. So I'm in the process of taking this one off. It's actually screwed in at the end over there, but I can't get to any of this. And I tried to reach over and I just didn't have the reach to get to the cables that had been disconnected. So that's a problem. And that's something that makes it hard to service if I have a plumbing issue even. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm actually gonna build a hatch into this panel that slides back, and it gives me access to all of my plumbing, all of my connections right there by simply taking some of the stuff off of this slide out tray and looking behind there. Now, I like how some brands do it. Alliance does it very well. They put a panel that can simply be removed so you can look back there, and I love that. Other brands will put like a sliding door. I'm gonna do it a little bit different. I think the way I'm gonna do it's gonna be a little bit better, but hopefully it turns out the way I'm planning. But the first thing I need to do is remove this last panel so I can go ahead and make my cut. Okay, so the panel removes by removing these screws right along the edge here, which go into the end of it, and I should just be able to slide the panel out the other side once I've done that. And I don't need to remove all of them, I just need to remove a few of them because not all of them are used to hold that in. Some of them are used just to hold this little trim piece right here together. So I'm gonna pull a few of them out. I think that should be enough. Nope, still got one holding on tight. Which one is it? Oh, I think it's the very bottom one. Nope, never mind. So it is free, and I don't like how the screws were just attached to this lip, so I'm going to add some extra lumber right here so it gives me a much more positive connection whenever I'm screwing into it. But again, this is kind of just a faux backer wall. It's not necessarily designed to be structural. It's just designed to block off everything back there. And they want it to be relatively easy to remove. But what I'm doing today is going to alleviate the need to remove this anymore by simply putting a panel here to access it. Okay, so here is the small piece of lumber I'm going to attach to this end, and that's going to give me the ability to screw that panel back in with much more material to screw it into. The hole I'm going to make is going to be right here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Then I'm going to show you what I plan on doing because I think it's going to be a little bit different than what you might think. So let's get to cutting this, mounting it on there, and then getting our hole cut. And I know I have some screws slightly pointing out the back, but I'm never really going to have to handle that area, so I'm not too concerned. So next, I need to cut my hole right here. Okay, so now I just need to cut this hole out. I'm going to use my my circular saw to plunge into it to do that. Okay, so now I have my hole cut out and I need to attach my rail. So some people might say, why not make a door out of it? Well, I plan on doing something a little bit different and I think will be better. So I purchased these ball bearing rollers a long time ago for a very different project. And what I plan on doing is installing them like this to where the door just slides open. And I'm really going to actually put it right about here, and then I can use the actual panel that I cut out. I have this other panel, but it's a much thinner material. This is actually a much better plywood, and if I can just reuse it, I can put the carpet back on it, and I'll be in really good shape. So it'll go like this, and just slide open and close like that. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get these mounted the way I want them. I don't think there's anything stopping me. And once we mount these in place, we'll see how the panel fits over it. Okay, so everything is assembled. I just need to recarpet this, but check it out. Very cool. So now if I need to open it, I can just do that. If I need to take it off, I can reach behind here and I can flip the little plastic levers to slide the whole thing out. But that is really cool, and that's going to come in really, really handy. So I'm just going to throw some carpet on it right now. I might take a little piece of wood and kind of create a little bit of a handle to be able to operate it. But that's pretty much it. Once I do this, we're going to go ahead and reassemble everything. But before I do that, I need to fix the wiring on the LCI flow so I don't have to use this to get to it. Okay, so instead of just fixing the switch, I actually replaced the switch and I put new wiring plugs at the end, new spade connectors to connect to the back of my new switch. The old switch is this little rectangle toggle switch. It's just hard to get one of these rectangle switches cleanly in unless you put it in a dedicated switch holder. This one I can just drill a round hole. This actually came off of a light bar I'm no longer using, and I can turn it on or off. So right now the system is pressurized, so it's actually ready to be drained. And what that means is it filled the line with air, so if I use something like this and I turn it on, you might actually see some water come out. And this is, in essence, draining down the system. So that's the pressure that was in there. I had already drained it down, so that's why you're not seeing much. But that's how it works. Got a little bit of rain coming in, so you might hear that in the background. And we're ready to go. So now that it's raining out here, I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the panels back here, get everything secured in place, and wrap this project up. So it really started raining pretty hard. It's actually flooding a little bit out here. It drains off back there, but I got all the panels hung back on this side. You can see the hatch slightly open over there. I'm going to get over there and go ahead and get everything secured the rest of the way. Then we'll wrap this project up. Okay, so we are wrapped up over here. Got the last screw in, everything's held in place here. That ain't going anywhere anymore. And I now have the ability, if I remove this, I'll have a lot more room, of course, but I have the ability to slide that open. And look at everything back here. Very cool. You can see the back of the switch that I repaired up there. But this was all inaccessible if I hadn't have done this, unless I removed all of these panels like you saw. You can see the back of the water shield, this aluminum shield that I created here. So if any of these fixtures decide to squirt water off that way, it's not going to get on the automatic transfer switch or the surge guard because it's all behind there. The water will flow down off the top and down, and I put some silicone behind those screws right there just to keep them from leaking. Now, is it impossible for water to get over there? No. I mean, it could if something catastrophically fails, but the most likely area of failure would be something behind here. And if any of this does fail, I now have some protection from the electrical equipment, so there's just not going to be a mixture of water and electricity, which I think most people know never is a good combination. But that's it. I got my little handle right here so I can close that. It doesn't close completely, but it definitely, you know, blocks it from anything that's going to be right here that could bump into it, but just makes it really easy. It's not as if it was sealed anyways, because you could go right over the top. But I think it looks pretty good. Very, very, very easy install to do so long as you have access to your panels. If you don't have something like this back here, you know, you could probably fabricate something, but you may have some type of quick access panel to get back to your plumbing fixtures. And if you do, you might not need this. The only time you might need this in that scenario is if the panel itself isn't big enough to really give you practical access. But in my case, I think I'm in good shape. But yeah, very happy with how this went. I'm glad I was able to fix this up here. I'm gonna patch that hole. I'll probably just put something over it that's white just to kind of block that. But I think it turned out really good. What are your thoughts? Is this something you could see yourself doing? And you know, you could have done it a lot cleaner, I suppose, if you had like, you know, a jigsaw and you really wanted to cut it out very clean. You could have framed it off. You could have done a bunch of different things. But for me, this is an area that's not necessarily pretty anyways. It's not really a cosmetic area. It's more of a functional area. And to be able to get back behind there with a panel, especially one that's now on ball bearing rollers, is definitely worth it. And if you look from this side, you can see that the opening isn't as big as you might think. From here, it's probably ½ an inch, which again, I don't really mind because it's not as if it was weather sealed anyways. It's just to protect stuff like this from tumbling over into that space, and it's more than adequate, especially now that I've added this piece of lumber across the end of it to reinforce it. Anyways, I'd love to know your thoughts. Leave a comment below, please. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. I'll put the link to these little ball bearing rollers in the description if this is something you're looking for and, you know, just an easy way to get to them. Anyways, I'll talk to you again very soon.